Here's the deal, everyone. Xbox blinked. 2 months ago, they bet that $80 was going to be the new normal for video games. Today, they're walking that back. The Outer Worlds 2 has just dropped from $80 to $70. But here's the thing. This is not just about one game. This is Xbox fundamentally admitting that they got their analysis of the market dead wrong. As we get to this story, there's something dead important to remember. Inside these companies, there are always people that agree with you. I mean, seriously, I can do a video skewering a company, and guess what I can find in my email or, other places? People in the company saying, we're saying the same thing internally, but we're just not getting cut through with management. And for today's story, there's no person more relevant than Brandon Adler. That's because he's the game director of The Outer Worlds 2. And back at Summer Games Fest, he tried to give a shocking thing in the industry, a human response to the $80 news. Games Radar captured it. Here's the quote. "We're a game developer. We love to make games. We don't set the prices for our games. Like, personally, as a game developer, I wish everybody could play my game because that's what I want out of this whole thing. But for the reasons and why the $79.99 price point, you'd honestly have to talk to the Xbox folks." That's what he said, firmly saying, look, that's a thing for Xbox, not for me, I'm the video game man. Because here's the reality, $80 for a game is just a lot of money. I mean, just $70 is a lot of money. $60 is still a lot of money. Adler obviously knows that. Just look at how he responded. He wants to make games that people can enjoy, and he knows that $80 is going to be a breaking point for many, many players. But Obsidian, the developer that he works for, does not make that decision. I would not even be surprised if Obsidian opposed it, but the reality is that Xbox does control everything here, and they made the choice to raise the price, just like they have now made the choice to drop the price again. The price for The Outer Worlds 2 is dropping to $69.99, and Obsidian got to play this off with some fun, in-universe posting, which is a cute move. It does fit the game's tone, but let's just get concrete about this. In a statement to Windows Central, Microsoft gave their rationale here, and I'll quote it so that, there's no doubt. "We're focused on bringing players incredible worlds to explore, and we'll keep our full-priced holiday releases, including The Outer Worlds 2, at $69.99, in line with current market conditions." Now, I will straight up say, I don't believe Microsoft. I don't think that's their vision. I think bringing epic worlds to players is in fact the developer's mission. I think that Microsoft is an enterprise software company that's currently in the middle of a hard pivot towards artificial intelligence, and they care about growth of that more than anything else. But hey, maybe we're the fools for expecting corporate communication to come off right and to not essentially just be what it always is. Complete bullshit. Anyway, back to the pricing. They are offering to refund people the difference. However, some retailers are making players seek those refunds out for themselves, which sure is kinda scummy. Will everybody see this news? I don't know, probably not. What matters though is we're back to $70, and that even a big company like Microsoft have basically been forced back there, I think does actually matter. Now, what does this mean? Well, The Outer Worlds 2 is going to cost $10 more than the first game cost back in 2019, which is not an unusual thing in 2025. And if they had started here, it would have shown Xbox taking the franchise seriously. Instead, what it shows is greed. Just that. It shows that they overreached. And in overreaching, they showed their hand. They showed their desperation. Because you must remember, this is the same company that was so disconnected from reality that they set Redfall at $70. So yeah, they're kinda deluded. But wait, the premium edition with advanced access and 2 DLC expansions is still $99.99, which is actually $10 more than before, since of course the base version has dropped. Does kind of make sense though. Xbox has made good money from Game Pass users pre-ordering premium upgrades. I mean, remember Starfield? How many people paid extra just for 5 days of early play? But what I'd say really matters for this story is pre-orders, because pre-orders are almost certainly why this whole reversal has happened. Neither you nor I are shocked that this is actually not about bringing players epic worlds, and that it's about money. Microsoft would not make a change if they didn't have to. This is not charitable, this is mercenary, this is business. I'd put forward that what's really happening is that after 2 months on offer, pre-orders were probably not hitting targets. And often, this is something that is a bit of how the sausage is made, you will essentially see that games will have pre-order targets, and if a game is seen to be falling behind its targets, well, their overall financial model for a game, right, will often be based on pre-order numbers, on pre-order velocity. So if that is weak, it will actually start to scare these people shitless. Because what they understand is not that an amazing game will make people excited and then people will go and buy it. No, what they understand is they have a spreadsheet. That spreadsheet has a financial model, and surely it is that spreadsheet that will predict future reality perfectly, and not something like just trying to focus maximally on the game experience being good. I think for so many of the outsized successes we see in the industry, well, those successes are not something that can be captured in a spreadsheet because you can't pre-rationalize and predict it, you absolute fools. But again, it's Microsoft, an enterprise software company, and if you want to know why I basically fucking hate their guts at this stage, take a look at this video from over on our Warcraft channel. It's kind of personal. Anyway, even with Game Pass and premium upgrades driving revenue, they still do need actual sales. The reason why is simple. It's because Game Pass and Obsidian are separate lines of business. Now, we recently learned that Game Pass is actually profitable, with a bit of an asterisk about what you count there. But we also learned that studios do have sales targets that are separate from Game Pass players. Which I get, but also it's kind of like, hey, Mr. Studio, you missed your sales target. Because everybody went and got the game in Game Pass, which is also a thing that we do, and now you'll be punished. It does seem like that's probably how this shakes out. Ugh. Anyway, those targets were probably not trending well at the $80 price point. I mean, look at Microsoft's statement again. Quote, current market conditions. That's rather telling. Game spending has been erratic over the past 12 months. Full price releases especially so, and full priced holiday releases, well, that's not just the Outer Worlds 2. That includes Call of Duty Black Ops 7. That is a game that probably could have sold at $80. Because as much as anyone tries to kill Call of Duty or have a free-to-play competitor, people buy that shit every year. But it now seems that Call of Duty will not be $80. It doesn't seem that Xbox are dismissing $80 forever, but at least for now, it does appear to be a settled matter. You see, when Microsoft made this bet, they were banking on several factors. A weak 2025 holiday release schedule meant fewer options for players. You've got this big pool of consumer money, and if there's not as many games for that money, then it'll go towards your game, even if it is a little bit more expensive. They would have thought that Obsidian's track record would have enticed people, and crucially, that more companies would try $80. But they didn't. That, in a way, is the shocking thing. As an example, and this just broke as I went to record this video, Electronic Arts appear to be so sick of being asked by analysts at their earnings calls about $80 that they overtly asked them to stop asking them about the $80 issue. Seemingly EA just saying, no, we're not doing it for now. Stop asking us, it's getting tiresome. And I think we've got further proof. You see, when games went from $60 to $70, the people leading the charge were Take-Two. Here's what's interesting though. Borderlands and Mafia are Take-Two games, but they're not going to be $80. GTA might be $80, but seemingly other Take-Two games aren't. It seems that even the people who are the most willing to put those prices up, well, they're not willing to. As for PlayStation, they've only got Ghost of Yotai this year, so they're probably not risking rocking any boats. Essentially then what happened is, Xbox saw a few people go bullish with $80, and they pushed all their chips forward, only to have everyone else around the table fold. Now Nintendo did have their $80 game, that's true, but Nintendo had something that Xbox doesn't as much. A bit of an ace up their sleeve. There's many things we can't trust Nintendo for, but we can trust them to actually release good games that are broadly going to be worth the money and can give you fun for years and years and years on end. When Microsoft announced $80 for Outer Worlds 2, we were kind of confused because it was a sequel to a well-received but kind of niche action RPG. And yes, it was from a beloved studio, but it wasn't a big tentpole franchise. It didn't have a wow factor, you know, that legacy of quality, that scale to just demand attention. It very much was not going to be a GTA. So in short, it was probably a bad choice to ask $10 more for it. It lacked the feeling of an $80 game, regardless of its actual quality. And the feeling of an $80 game is such an important thing, seriously, guys. Remember Space Marine 2? Now, Saber, who are the dev, their CEO, Matthew Karch, he actually talked about pricing psychology. And when he did, he said that the game needed to be $70 because that's what people expected of AAA games. And because of that, if it wasn't $70, a potential customer would look at it and think, oh, that's a AAA game, but it seems they can't even justify charging full price. I guess it's not good. And he said that even though he also thought that $70 would eventually fail. I think eventually being the sort of keyword there. Now, we do have proof that $80 can work, and this is where we get back to Nintendo. Mario Kart World apparently hit an 85% attach rate on Switch 2, and that's without counting the digital sales. Now, it does help that it was basically the only Switch 2 game, also that it was Mario Kart, and that it came with a $30 discount in the console bundle. But you see, that was strategy. Nintendo told people that Mario Kart World was worth $80. Then they gave them a way to cheat that and save $30 through the bundle. And unlike most, Nintendo are actually renowned for quality. And that's the other big difference between Nintendo and Microsoft. In a world of minimum viable products, you know, cough cough Microsoft, what Nintendo embodies is a better mantra. Simple, lovable, complete. And Nintendo's track record is basically that since day one. They are renowned for kinda never missing. Xbox is not renowned for that. They're renowned for things like running many studios into the ground, completely botching multiple eras of consoles, and now most recently, destroying the lives of like thousands of game developers, canceling so many games we basically can't even count them, and just wreaking untold havoc and damage on the games industry. They're fucking villains. Though I should point out a similarity with Nintendo, right? Because not much unlike their Mario Kart gambit, Xbox kind of had something similar here, right? Because it's awesome if they sell a game for $80, but at the very least, well, $80 sure does make Game Pass look like a good deal. And that's actually where it kind of gets interesting to me, because we know that the studios have got separate sales targets, not counting Game Pass. And that would essentially mean that, computing all the numbers, not even the Game Pass thing was enough for them to be able to justify $80. But you see, there's a core difference between this and what Nintendo were able to do. So much of their revenue now comes from PS5. That means that the Game Pass thing can't magically save them. So with PS5 releases driving their revenue, it seems that $80 is actually too much risk and that they could not hold the line. Where we're left is this. The bar overall has been raised in the games industry. Nintendo is not trying to clear it every time though. I mean, Donkey Kong Bonanza was actually not $80. Rockstar and Take-Two might push for $80 with GTA. They'll sell that regardless, but for everybody else, trying to clear that $80 bar will hurt, because that's a lot of money. Unless, you know, they're very confident and they think they've got an utter banger of a game. Here's the trick though. They don't really have to. Matthew Ball pointed this out in his recent State of Gaming report. Basically, the industry didn't need every game at $80 to change overall pricing. All that it needed to do was move the Overton window. Because The Outer Worlds is now $70. Games like Expedition 33 can retail at $50. What we're maybe realizing is that players are more comfortable paying a little down the chain. And the publishers, well, they are now very aware of that. So things are changing. Very bullish assessments made by technocratic morons who think that their spreadsheet will in fact represent what the future is going to be, are finding themselves fundamentally ill-equipped for today's world. But to bring this down to earth, for your wallet, for my wallet, the good news is that Overton window has not shifted as much as it otherwise may have, and at least we'll be saving a few dollars versus a potential timeline the industry could have went in. I do think that in 2 or 3 years, $80 will probably be normal, but at least for now, your lack of pre-orders has won. Your comments online have won. This actually does prove that you guys, the audience, the customer, that you drive this shit. And speaking of the audience maybe not being fully served by the decisions of a big games company, oh boy, 1047 Games, it ain't looking good. You can learn about the unlaunching of Splitgate 2 over here.